Companies like ours spend a lot of time and resource and money on R&D, and our cost is much higher. And if another company can come in and copy our technologies for free, then this other company will be operating at a much lower cost. So we, operating at a much higher cost, won't be able to compete with them. So at the end of the day, business model of innovation won't be able to sustain, and we were lost in competition. The answer can come in two folds. First, the infringement can be injuncted by the court. Second, if the user would pay royalties to the innovators, then it will be a strong incentive for the innovators to use the money and reward the R&D. We generally spend 10 to 15% of our annual revenue into R&D. In the past 10 years, we spent around $90 billion in R&D. So that made us one of the top 5 global innovators. Just taking 5G as an example, Huawei has spent $4 billion in 5G R&D, about half of which was spent on early research. That means it was even before we started building our products. And that made us one of the leaders of 5G. I think it depends. Huawei share our technologies essentially in two ways. First, by putting our technologies in standards, and second is by open source. For standards, typically the standard participants will be able to collect patent royalties, and that will be their reward for their inventions. For open source, typically the technologies would be shared with the industry for free per se. However, the open source contributors will be able to benefit indirectly from the thriving of the industry. We do it by entering into cross-license agreements. Cross-licensing works in a way that if you have more patents and less sales, you collect royalties. And if you have less patents and more sales, you pay royalties. So Huawei are both strong in product and patents, so we actually benefit a lot from cross-licensing. The industry collaborates in a way that companies try to contribute the best technologies to the standards, hoping the standards will accept them for the industry-wide use. And that's like a race. If you're a success in getting your technologies into standard, you may be able to get a standardization patent, and that will be your reward. But if you're lazy in contributing, you may be short of patents and end up paying royalties to others.